Well, hello there. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to World of Roocraft. Hang on, let me just take a sip from my coffee. Great. So we are back with some more World of Warcraft. And I decided to talk a little bit more about the lore, since I didn't have enough time or the drive to make another Luther video. I came up with something else for Luther. We will talk about that at the end of the video. What do I want to do? Well, it's easy. I want to talk a bit more about the lore, about the background story of World of Warcraft, what is going on, since I think it's an interesting story and I want to share it with you people. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Now there is a lot of stuff for us to cover. I could start with the War of the Agents, I could start with the Dragonflights, I could start with Pandaria. There is a lot going on in the Warcraft universe. Speaking of universe, I think that's a great point, a great segue to today's topic. We're gonna start with the creation of everything. Why not starting with how everything started? That's what we're gonna do. You can probably tell by now, I will play some World of Warcraft in the background. Please don't copyright strike me, Blizzard. I heard you are actually pretty cool when it comes to Warcraft videos. Please. So, let's just go ahead and talk about the creation of World of Warcraft, or the universe in the World of Warcraft. Now, there are a lot of theories on how the universe was created. I think back in 2010, Blizzard published like a timeline on their website that's still pretty much accurate. Some stuff happened, but it didn't really influence the creation mythos. So let's start. I'm sure by now, if you followed my Luther series, I've been talking a lot about the light. Maybe if you played the game yourself, the characters in there talk a lot about the light. What is this light? It's an energy force. Paladins are using them, or using it. Priests are using it to heal people, to protect themselves from damage, or you can use it to harm your enemies by burning them. It's light. It's just light. Yeah, not much to explain about that. But at the very beginning, before there was shut up phone every freaking time, excuse me, before there was planets and outer space and time itself, there was only light. Imagine it like a big sea of energy, an all-encompassing sea of energy. Now there were parts in this sea where the light thinned out, the energy thinned out like a whale, and there was a rip in this whale, and in between this light there was the void, there was nothingness, a total darkness. I think so far I'm not making things too difficult to understand, right? There is light, there's darkness, they both coexist with one another, but since they are light and darkness, they can't really play along well. No, since they're total opposites, but there cannot be light without darkness, there can't be darkness without light. So we have these opposite forces, darkness and light, and in one of these pockets, one of these big pockets where the light and the darkness meets one another, there was an energy buildup and a big explosion, a big bang. Ha ha, see? A big bang, because, never mind. And the known universe was born. There was the Great Dark Beyond, that's the Warcraft term for outer space. Planets were born, little baby planets, and everything was lovely. Now the void and the light are still existing outside of the known universe. They're like outside of everything. Also, during the explosion, there were parts where the light and the darkness mixed into an extra plane of existence. Let's call it the Twisting Nether. Well, let's not call it, it's called the Twisting Nether. That's going to be important later. We're going to talk about it more later on in the video. There are more things that happened after that explosion. I've been talking about the planets. There is a very interesting thing about planets. They possess something called primordial energy. Primordial energy is a residue of this Big Bang, and if a planet is strong enough, if it has enough primordial energy, it becomes sentient. It starts to manifest as a Titan. Now, this may sound familiar to you, because in the latest add-on, Titans were a big thing. They are like the gods in the Warcraft universe. They're something like the Greek pantheon of gods in the Warcraft universe. They're the first, let's say, living creatures in the universe, the oldest living creatures. They pretty much represent life and the light. They're also the Naru. They are a race of enigmatic creatures. They are composed of light. They're like the embodiment of light. I don't want to complicate things too much. I can't even speak. Let's just mention them for now, and we're gonna tackle them in a later video. Now, since the light has its opposite in the void, the Titans kinda have the opposite too. There are the so-called void gods, powerful creatures that live in the void. They are cruel, immensely powerful, and have an insatiable hunger for everything living. They want to destroy everything that's alive in the known universe. And the good thing is, these void gods can't come into the physical plane. They can't come to the world without using a lot of their energy. And since they used a lot of energy when they come here, they're not that big of a threat. But still, they created something called the old gods. You see, they know that they can't really enter the physical plane, so they started to shoot out energy to newborn planets. They wanted to corrupt Titans before they woke up as Titans. I think up until now, they never really hit such a sleeping Titan. And the energy forces, the energy they shoot out in the Great Dark Beyond, turned into another form of horrible, death-bringing creatures, the old gods. We're gonna talk about them too, just a little bit later on in the video. I'm rambling already. Basically, what you have to keep in mind is light and Titans good, void and old gods and void gods bad. Now let's pick up after the creation of the universe, after the first Titans woke up. You can imagine them as gigantic, metal-skinned humans. They look humanoid. And like I said, they're basically the gods in the Warcraft universe. There is a pantheon, a high council of Titans. There's the oldest and most powerful Titan, Amontul. You may have heard of him. I think they used his name as a realm name. And there's his wife, Erenor. I think her name is Erenor. And most important is his brother, Amontul's brother, Zagreus. Now, this name may ring a bell, since he's the big bad in the latest add-on. And in one way or another, it all comes back to Zagreus. So let's talk about him. Now, these Titans are also known as the Travelers, since they traveled around the Great Dark Beyond, visited new planets, formed them, and made life on them possible. They did this for a couple of years, I would say eons even, until demons were coming to their planets, to the Titans' planets. Now, these demons are creatures out of the Twisting Nether. They are horrible creatures. They're not necessarily, let's say, correlated with the Void Gods. They're just something that naturally happened in the Twisting Nether due to the dark and light energies. Now, they invaded several planets of the Titans, tried to destroy them. So Amontul sent out his brother, Zagreus, the bravest warrior, to deal with the demons. Of course, it was no problem for him to fight with the demons, but during this, let's say, crusade against the demons, Zagreus met two different races. The Eredar, they are big blue humanoid creatures that are very talented with magic, and he met the Nathrazim, or Nathrazim, I don't know how to pronounce them correctly. They're more vampiric, dark creatures. They look more like demons, but they're not demons. They're just two different races Zagreus met during his crusade against the demons. He banished the Eridar and the Navratim into the Twisting Nether and went back to his pantheon, to his buddies. But because the Eridar and the Navratim were so cruel and relentless in their fight and in the destruction of the planets, it left its marks on Zagreus. He became depressed, he was becoming a little bit mad because he was thinking all this destruction, all this chaos caused by the demons can only be countered by destroying the planets or destroying the universe himself. I know it sounds crazy, but the dude got crazy. He fought these demons for eons. Imagine doing that. I think you will get a little bit crazy yourself. So Zagreus told the Pantheon, screw this guys, I'm out of here. I don't want to have anything to do with your world-raising shtick. And he left. At the time, the other Titans didn't know what Zagreus was planning to do. They didn't know that he was planning on destroying the universe. And that's what he started to do. He became madder. He even changed a little bit. He looks different now than he did back then. And he freed some of the Eridar and the Navratim out of the Twisting Nether. He also recruited other demons. He called his army the Burning Legion. And he started to invade planets, Titan planets, to destroy them and enslave their inhabitants. That's basically how the Burning Legion started. We don't know until now how many planets fell to Zagreus' wrath, but the dude is extremely powerful and his army is enormous, so I guess it's a lot. But let's continue on with something you might are more familiar with. Azeroth, you know, the planet where most of World of Warcraft is taking place in. While Zagreus was busy destroying the universe, the other Titans came to Azeroth, this little planet called Azeroth. As they came there, they had to figure out that someone has already been there. There is chaos on the planet, there are elemental beings, the elemental lords of the planet, waging war against the Titans. Now, the thing is, the old gods, 5 old gods, some sources say 5, some say 4, already arrived on Azeroth before the Titans did, and they corrupted the elemental lords. Trying to remember the names. I think there's Ragnaros, the Fire Lord. You may know him from Cataclysm or Vanilla. He was one of the raid bosses. There's Pharazan, the Earth Mother. I think you can meet her in Deepholm. There's Al-Akir, the Wind Lord, and Neptulon, the Tide Hunter. So the Titans fought against the elementals, they fought against the old gods, but they couldn't kill them. They could only weaken them. So what they did is they chained them and imprisoned them in Azeroth, in the planet itself. It means the old gods aren't dead, they are only defeated. They are sleeping in Azeroth. They are still active. They are not as powerful as they used to be, but they're still doing their whispers and controlling the people on Azeroth. I think most of them are dead. There is K'tun, Yogg-Saron, Enzoth, and I can't pronounce the last name. It's something like Waisharch, something like that. I'm gonna put it on the screen. You can read it yourself. Maybe you know how to pronounce it. I have no idea. Nevertheless, with the elemental lords banished into another plane of existence and the old gods locked into Azeroth, the Titans could finally do their job. They first created 2 new races, the Sea Giants, to help them raise the land out of the ocean, and the Earthen. The Earthen are dwarf-like creatures. They look a lot like dwarves. I think they are the ancestors to the dwarves. They made them out of magical stone, and they were supposed to help them in shaping the land. The Titans created a big supercontinent. They called it Kalimdor. It translated to Land of Eternal Starlight, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right? Thank you. And they put something called the Well of Eternity in the middle of that continent. The Well of Eternity is an energy source. It's supposed to help the continent to grow stronger, to develop life and all that fun stuff. And that's all the Titans did. They pretty much did their job, but before they left, they thought, hey, With the supercontinent and the demons attacking us and Sergar is gone, we need someone to protect this planet. So they went to the oldest, at the time oldest creatures on Azeroth, the dragons, the dragonflights. And they said, hey guys, we're gonna task you with protecting Azeroth. They gave part of the power to 5 dragons. There's Nozdormu of the Bronze Dragonflight, he's the keeper of time and destiny. There's Alexstrasza of the Red Dragonflight, she's the Lifebinder and guardian of all living creatures on Azeroth. There's Izera from the Green Dragonflight, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's the green one. She's the keeper of all nature and the Emerald Dream. We will talk about the Emerald Dream later in another video. There's also, oh my god, Malygos, the guardian of magic, and Neltarion of the Black Dragonflight, the keeper of Earth and everything within Azeroth. He's going to become an integral part for the War of Agents and the invasion, the first invasion of Azeroth. We're gonna talk about him. His name may sound familiar, but I don't want to spoil it too much in case you don't know. Now, with the 5 dragon aspects in place, the Titans left and never returned to Azeroth. Up till this day, should slow down while talking. They never returned to Azeroth. They said, our work here is done, bye bye. And for a long time being, everything was great on Azeroth, on Kalimdor. And one day this group of humanoid creatures, nocturnal creatures, traveled to the Well of Eternity to check it out, to figure out what it actually is. Some years passed, these creatures changed due to the Well of Eternity. They became bigger, more beautiful, and basically immortal. They lived forever if you not killed them with a sword or something. And those creatures called themselves Kaldorei, or Children of the Stars. Now, this may sound familiar again, because the Kaldorei are the Night Elves. See? That's something you may are familiar. If you played World of Warcraft, you know the Night Elves. And so far, that's everything important in the creation mythos. But now you may are thinking, hang on, Roo. On Azeroth there are more continents besides Kalimdor. There are the eastern kingdoms, there is Pandaria, there's Northrend. The Night Elves aren't immortal anymore, they can die. What happened? Well, let me just say this. Something very angry and fiery came to Azeroth. But we're gonna talk about that in the next episode. I'm already recording for over 80 minutes. 18 minutes, not 18 minutes. Damn, that would be a really long video. And I'm gonna end it here for today. I still want to talk about Luther. Decided to do something different, something more fun, something more interactive. Due to some magic mumbo jumbo and a small gnome device, Luther now has a Twitter account. Yeah. Our Man of the Light has a Twitter account. You can check it out. He's posting photos, he's documenting his journey through Azeroth. You can chat with him if you want to. You can grab a hold of him at Luther of the Light. I would highly appreciate it if you follow him. I'm most certain he will follow you back. And that's what's happening with Luther at the moment. Like always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this little video, let me know by hitting the like button or leaving a comment. Leave a comment if you want to see more of these kind of videos. And I'll see you next time where we will talk more about the Well of Eternity and the War of Ancients. I hope I pronounced it right. Ancients. Yeah. Until then, bye bye.